Welcome students to your biology class. Last class we read about the leaves other than green also have chlorophyll. The large amount of red, brown and other pigments mask the green color. Photosynthesis takes place in these leaves also. So some of the leaves which are not green in color but they are also able to make the food because they are green pigment which is covered by the other pigments. You often see slimy green patches in ponds or in other stagnant water bodies. These are generally formed by the growth of organisms called algae. So, some type of plants which are also plant, but it is not like the plants which we see around us. It does not have the root, stem, branches, but they are green in color. And these are usually found in the ponds or other stagnant water bodies. So, what are these called? These are called algae. Now they are green in color because they have also the pigment chlorophyll. They contain chlorophyll, and if they contain chlorophyll they are also able to make their food, because for making food or photosynthesis the plants require air, water, sunlight and chlorophyll. So the organisms which has got like algae which has got chlorophyll in them, they are also able to make their food. Now, synthesis of plant food other than carbohydrates. So, while they make the food, the plants make the simple carbohydrate glucose. Glucose they use for their body activities, and rest of this they store it in the form of starch. So, starch is the stored form of carbohydrate in plants. But how do they get the other nutrients? Because nutrients already you have learned about, like fats, proteins, these are also the nutrients. Even plants also require this. So how do they make this? Let us see. So we are learning that is synthesis of plant food other than carbohydrates. Now plants make their food by the process called photosynthesis. The carbohydrate they produce, the carbohydrates are made of carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. These are used to synthesize other components of food such as proteins and fats. So carbohydrate is made up of what? Carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. This carbon, hydrogen and oxygen they use to make proteins and fats. Fats are also made up of carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. Proteins, apart from carbon, hydrogen and oxygen, they contain nitrogen also. So that's why it is so said proteins are nitrogenous substances which contain nitrogen. Now from where do the plants obtain nitrogen? Carbon, hydrogen and oxygen, plants get it from the air and from the water. But nitrogen, from where do they get this? Nitrogen is present in abundance in gaseous form in the air. Nitrogen is present in abundance in gaseous form in the air. You know 78% of the atmosphere is nitrogen. However, plants cannot absorb nitrogen in this form. That is, from the air they cannot take it directly. Soil has, so plants cannot absorb nitrogen in this form. Soil has certain bacteria. Bacteria, these are microscopic organisms that convert gaseous nitrogen into a usable form and release it into the soil. So they take the atmospheric nitrogen and they convert into a usable form and release it into the soil. So they convert this into a usable form and release this into the soil. These soluble forms are absorbed by the plants. So this soil now it can be absorbed by the plants along with water. So first the atmospheric nitrogen converted into usable form by this soil bacteria. Now along with water this nitrogen can be absorbed by the plants. Also you might have seen farmers adding fertilizers. So farmers add fertilizer to the soil. rich in nitrogen. So we say nitrate fertilizers they are using in the soil. In this way, the plants fulfill the requirements of nitrogen along with other constituents. So they fulfill the requirements of nitrogen along with the other constituents. Plants can then synthesize components of food other than carbohydrates such as proteins and fats. So in photosynthesis they make the carbohydrate. From the carbohydrate they can make the fats and proteins also, that is other nutrients can be also produced. For proteins, proteins they require nitrogen they get it from the soil. The soil bacteria convert the atmospheric nitrogen into usable form which can be absorbed by the plants along with water. Also, when the farmers add the nitrate fertilizer to the soil, plant can absorb this along with water. So today what we have learnt, that is the synthesis of plant food other than carbohydrates. Today up to this much. I would request you to see the description box where I have given some questions. So do those questions. Thank you children.